Welcome to Culver's. It's Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. I'm Irish Bill with Seminole Bob. He's the man sitting to the right. I made the good-looking one. Well, I guess. Anyways, we're in week 6.
God.
The Navarre still only has played 4 games, so they're one game behind everybody because they lost the game to Warren Easton.
Ida, yeah.
Yeah, thanks to Ida. She's not a lovely lady at all. A lot of destruction in her path, and took away a football game, a thing that we value most this time of the year.
Absolutely, yep.
But we're here at Culver's in Navarre every Wednesday night during football season. This is where you'll find us from 7 to about 8:30 every Wednesday night. It's always nice coming off a win, isn't it, Bob?
Most certainly is, especially a road win, and really a team effort. I thought you had individuals that did shine, but a solid road win.
And you know what? I was really impressed. Hey, we got the light on now. It came on all its own.
Well, there you go.
What I was impressed was I thought the way that Navarre has been running the ball this year, that they were coming into this contest with that same plan. But Jay Walls mixed it up, and a great passing night from his senior quarterback, Kyle Chambers.
Yep. Leon loaded the box and dared him to run, and Kyle just took what the defense gave him and threw the ball very successfully. Curl patterns, out patterns, fly patterns, everything. He was pretty much on target, and he has really stepped up these. I sound like a broken record, but these last 3 or 4 games, Kyle has really stepped up and being the leader that Navarre needed at the right place at the right time. And you hate having momentum and then having a bye, and then you've got the lead up to homecoming.
I guess a very strong Mosley team.
Yes, and there's all kind of distractions besides a 4 or 5-0 Mosley team coming into town. You've got homecoming, and you've got, I don't know if they have pep rallies, but still they have homecoming court, homecoming dance, spirit week, decorate the halls, all that kind of stuff that is the players have to focus on the game. I don't think that'll be a problem, but coming off a bye is tough. You want to carry momentum in, but then if you have a few folks that nicked up, it'd be a time to get them well again for playing.
Most definitely. Another thing I've liked with Kyle Chambers is with now the emergence of the passing game, he can get out on the edge, and if it's not there, he's not afraid to tuck the ball in and run. He's been a leading ground carrier the last 2 games.
He's really been making some great decisions, especially on that, and he's a threat. Maybe, since this is the last game before Mosley, maybe Jay Walls was sending a message to the Dolphins saying, you can try single covering us and loading the box. We'll throw on you. If you lay back, put the linebackers back, we'll run on you. And we can do it equally as they did late in the game. I think DeCourt had 80-something yards.
86 yards on 8 carries.
Late in a lot of that
and
in the second half.
DeCourt had another nice night. I believe he ended up with 83. Kyle had 86. But the Raiders, a good mixture of the run and the pass this past week, 226 through the air and 181 to 190, actually 195 on the ground. So over 400-yard combined offense with both almost 200 yards. And but another thing that we saw as that game progressed last week was the play of the Big Bubbas up front.
Yep.
As the game went on, Navarre had a little bit of struggle running the ball early on in the game. But as the second half wore on, the Big Bubbas were taking their toll on the front 7 of Leon, and it really showed there in the fourth quarter.
Coach Wall said that with his interview with Brian Lester from the Navarre Press. It was the offensive and defensive lines that dominated and wore down Leon. Leon was a very formidable opponent. There's no question about it. And they gave us all we could handle. It's just one of those games where you didn't think the score definitely indicated. You thought just Navarre had dominated so much, but the score was closer than that. At least that's what I thought.
Most definitely. It was only a 10-point game at the end of the game, but it was quite was not indicative of what the final score was of that game, 24-14.
I agree.
The scoring plays, Navarre on the board first at 7:14 on their opening drive, a 16-yard pass from Kyle Chambers to Chase Richardson. Devin Wright with the kick, Navarre up 7-0. At 102 mark, a 10-yard run by Chambers on the keeper, right kick. And the Raiders had a 14-0 lead after one. And Leon would get on the board right before the end of the first half on a 2-yard run by Centel DeShazer. Jack Brooks, very impressed with the kicking game of one Jack Brooks, not only kicking but punting as well. It was 14-7 at the half. We go to the third quarter where Navarre scored the remaining points at 10:25, a 41-yard pass from Chambers to Terrence Marshall. Let's talk a little bit about Terrence Marshall. I was very impressed with the young man. There was a couple of passes in that game, especially one down on the Leon side of the field on the near side towards us. The ball was supposed to be thrown to the outside shoulder. Kyle threw it inside. While the ball was in the air, Terrence made an adjustment and somehow came back and made the catch, which is very tough for a wide receiver to make the difference up between the outside shoulder to the inside shoulder, and he
especially with a man on him covering him too, or men in that mark. He really started running some great pass routes, and Kyle put it where only Terrence could catch it, and he had a great game. And again, another weapon. Kyle is confident, as is Jay Walls, to throw him the football. Again, I still like that weapon over the middle, Chase Richardson.
Oh, what a season he's having so far. 3 touchdown catches on the year. He's a big target in the middle of the field, and usually if it hits his hands, he's not going to drop it.
He's a great blocker as well on running plays. Just an added weapon. They add another tight end. I can't think of his name.
We got number 41, Alex Woodall.
Yeah. And
he's another senior.
Right.
And one of the 33 seniors on this Navarre roster.
Right.
And, we go to the 4:44 mark, and not sure if we're going to see Taylor Gardner or not, as he's been nursing an injury. But they get him out there for a 20-yard field goal, and he makes his first field goal of his varsity career.
Yeah, that had to be exciting. You would think that maybe Devin would be doing the field goal kicking, and Gardner would be doing the extra point if it's any kind of a groin or a hip injury, because the extra points are closer. But he drilled it through, and I know he and his family were very excited.
Well, the Raiders would be not putting more points on the board, and at the 4:59 mark of the fourth quarter, benefit of a very bad roughing the kicker, roughing the penalty. Easy for me to roughing the punter penalty.
Phantom roughing the
yes.
punter penalty. Phantom.
More looked like running into the kicker, which would not have been a first down. But they go on and they score, and they cut it to 10, but that would be as close as they would get on the night. But Terrence Marshall, 149 yards on 7 receptions, one of the 10 best receiving games in our history. We thought for a second there in the fourth quarter when he got up to third quarter when he got up to 149 yards that he was going to have a chance to break the 177 set by Dante Wright. But they got away from the pass and got to the run and basically killed the clock.
Mm-hmm. Yep. One of the turning points in the game when Leon scored before halftime, and they knew that Navarre was going to receive the second half kick. Leon's goal, you know what the coach said at halftime. We stop them and we get momentum back. We score. We're back in the ball game.
And that didn't happen.
And Navarre probably said the opposite. We don't want them to continue the momentum. We need to come here, start the second half, and show ourselves.
Most definitely. But Kyle Chambers, your leading ground carrier, 8 carries for 86 yards. Chris DeCourt, 16 for 83. And in the passing game, like I said, Terrence Marshall, 7 receptions, 149 yards and a score. Chase Richardson with 2 for 29 and the other score. And it was a great night. But let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. A young man that has been playing lights out since the season started. It actually started last year playing lights out. And we've got to talk about Devin Wright. 4 straight games of double-digit tackles for the senior linebacker.
And if I remember the first running play, he was in the backfield almost at the same time as the ball. He was great getting from his linebacker position, great penetration, and really just exerting himself in on that offense and constantly in the backfield causing havoc.
And just to think, when Leon had an opening on the outside with the running game, somebody was there to close it off, and that would be 100 Crowder at 14 tackles as well. Mm-hmm. And then you could throw Caballero in there. Christian, he had 10 double digits as well. So the Raiders had 3 double-digit tackle recipients on a Friday night, and they held Leon to 150 total yards of offense, and another impressive night for the Raider defense.
I agree. I was just really impressed with the closing speed of the defense on plays, especially outside. When they chose to run Shazier outside, either on the Wildcat or on a straight handoff, Navarre was there. You'd look like there would be an opening, and like you said, it would close up right away. And just a great defensive scheme. And Mosley's going to have some trouble with our defense. I don't think there's any question.
think it's going to be one of the best teams that they on their schedule up to this point. I don't take anything away from Lincoln. Lincoln they always give us fits, but Mosley averaging, they've scored at least 42 points in all 5 of their games, and it's going to be a challenge. The Raiders are going to have to match them point for point, or have a great defensive presence on that night, homecoming night.
Yeah. I don't want to look ahead too much, but I just see a very slow game getting the defense, Navarre's defense, off the field, try to instill a running game and pass when you have to, and keep that offense of Mosley off the field.
Most definitely, and we looked at the first half of the schedule, which is we are now halfway because we got 5 more games. This would have been halfway point. The opponents, if you thought they were tough in the first half, wait to the second half, because you got 5-0 Mosley still on the schedule next week, followed up by Pace, another district game. Then we head to Niceville, 5-0 on the season, district game. And then I believe that we have Crestview after that. Crestview 3-2 on the season, having a solid year. And we finished up with 5-0 Gulf Breeze, who's off to an undefeated start so far through 5 games, dominating their opponents, led by a sophomore quarterback by the name of Battle Alberson.
I like that.
His leading wide receivers are also sophomores, so another great sophomore class coming up for Gulf Breeze. So the schedule is only going to get tougher for Navarre in the second half of the season.
Oh, I most certainly. And it's focus time for Navarre, and with homecoming coming up not this Friday but the following Friday.
Yep, just when we're getting back in our flow on the broadcast, then we got to take a week off. So that gives us a chance to recharge our batteries as well, and we'll go out and probably watch another high school football game on Friday night somewhere. And if Lighthouse is at home just down the road 12 miles from Navarre, we'll probably be there because I want to watch this young man, Caleb Wagner, again.
We'll talk about him in just a minute.
Our next segment.
Yeah.
So we've completed segment 1 of Irish Bill's Twist on Sports here in Week 6. Seminole Bob and Irish Bill here from Culver's in downtown Navarre. We're going to head out, and then we'll come back with our Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings and our Players of the Week. Stay tuned, folks.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, before field to fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now. The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you. And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
If you want to move better, feel better, and live better pain-free, Dr. Paul Britt at Integrative Chiropractic Solutions is the only certified sports chiropractor for Gulf Breeze and Navarre. He can address your sports injuries quickly and effectively, and after only 4 visits on average with a 96% resolution rate. So give Integrative Chiropractic Solutions a call today at 850-916-9304 or book online at drpaulbritt.com. That's 850-916-9304 or online at drpaulbritt.com. They want to fix you swiftly to get you back in the game.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people. Real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track. Whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
Welcome back to Week 6 of Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. Irish Bill here with Seminole Bob, and where he already broke down the Navarre game. Now it's time to move over to Irish Bill Super 7 Panhandle Power Rankings, the large schools and the small schools, and our players of the week. A little bit of change in the large schools. Niceville stays on top. Mosley moves into the second spot still. They're holding strong there. West Florida at 3, Gulf Breeze at 4, Choctaw back into the top 7 at number 5 at 4-1 after they beat Crestview in a hard-fought 16-13 game. Navarre with the road win. Leon stays in the 6th spot, and Pine Forest moves in for the very first time on the season as they took out Catholic rather convincingly last week, 46-7. In the small schools, Baker stays on top as they narrowly beat Northview 43-42 in overtime. Bluntstown was idle last week. South Walton with a big win against Bay, 42-7. Port St. Joe over Rutherford moves into the 4 spot. Liberty County at number 5 at 4-1. Catholic kind of a rough road getting started. They're 1-3. They still stay in the top 7 at number 6. And Holmes County, a team that we had kind of disbanded a couple weeks ago, has rallied and are now 4-1 in the season after they took out Jay last Thursday night.
Yep, absolutely.
Our player of the week, he's no stranger to this award. People say, well, how can you give it to back-to-back? Well, with numbers like this is how you give it back-to-back to one Baker running back, Caleb Wagner. 2 weeks ago, he rushed for 535 yards on 25 carries and 5 touchdowns. Not quite the game that he had the week before, but 34 carries, 426 yards, and 5 touchdowns in that 43-42 winner over Northview. So Caleb Wagner is our offensive player of the week for back-to-back weeks. And if he keeps this up, he gives me no choice but to keep on selecting him.
I mean, it's like playing a video game with him. The yards are just unbelievable, and perhaps we'll get a chance to take a look at him
Friday night if they get down here to Lighthouse.
Yep.
Our defensive player this week, a new one, we head up to Pace. Linebacker sophomore Jackson Ward contributed 17 tackles and a 42-14 loss to Gulf Breeze. So there you are, your offensive players of the week. Caleb Wagner from Baker and Jackson Ward from Pace.
Good recipients there. Good choices.
We had 4 quarterbacks that threw for over 300 yards last week. Northview's Caden Odom, Monroe's Joshua Brown, Pine Forest's Tierra Wilson, and Gulfridge. I like this name. I'm getting to like this name. I'm anxious to watch him play when he comes to Navarre in Week 10. Battle Alberson.
Well, he threw for over 300 yards with only 9 completions. So do the math. That's not quite.
That's about 33 yards. 33 yards of reception.
Yep.
Pretty solid night.
Yep.
I mean, on the ground game, you had Pine Forest's Danielle Hayes. He was second with 195 yards on 6 receptions. Northview's Jamarcus Jefferson, 11 receptions, 180 yards, 3 scores. Scambia's Aiden Freeman, 9 receptions, 157. Navarre's Terrence Marshall, 7 receptions, 149 yards. I mean, you had multiple. I mean, you had to have at least a dozen players with over 100 yards receptions. What I'm doing is I'm covering from Escambia County all the way over to Osceola Christian on the other side of Tallahassee and Monticello. I believe they're in. That's the town that they're in. Mm-hmm. Running backs, Cottondale's Damian St. Fleur, 166 yards rushing. Escambia's Wayman Jordan, 164. On defense, you got so many, I'm not going to list them here. You can go out to my Facebook page, Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. You can go out to my website and irishbillsports.com and check the blog section. We've got some good stories out there, and you can see all of the talent that we have here in the Panhandle and over in the Big Bend area. And our special teams, the leading guy, Mosley's Jonathan Harris, made all 7 of his extra points last week. So a lot of great talent here in 2021, and it just takes a little time to recognize all this talent when you got so many individuals that are producing each and every week.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So our large schools, top 7, Niceville, Mosley, West Florida, Gulf Breeze, Choctaw, Navarre, and Pine Forest. Our small schools, Baker, Bluntstown, South Walton, Port St. Joe, Liberty County, Catholic, and Holmes County. And we got some other teams that are just sitting out. Walton's waiting for a spot to get back in there. They've only lost 1 to South Walton in that rivalry game. And then our players of the week, Baker's Caleb Wagner and Pace's Jackson Ward.
Absolutely, yep. Walton won a big one over Mariana last week.
Most definitely. Now it's time to jump on over to our picks. Let's see what Joe's got to say here. Joe Settle checking in from Niceville. He checks in every week. Joe never misses a show.
Nope.
He's a good friend of mine over there. He probably told you by now that he works on the chain gang over there at Niceville. He said Gosby has a lot of talent. They had 3 players that are committed to D1 schools, and our quarterback is a freshman who can run and throw. He's going to be great. So good scouting report there from Joe Settle on Godby. A lot of talent over there. We saw the running back at Godby. He played at Childs 2 years ago. The Chase Gillespie kid that had a big night against us, along with the quarterback over there, and he's now at West Virginia. So I've seen Chase run the ball, and they got a great offense, but they couldn't stop that train known as the Niceville Eagles, 56-27.
Well, it was close for a good part of the game. And, Joe had a bird's eye view of everything there being done right there on the field.
That's got to be great right there on the sidelines, getting to see all the talent that's been coming out of Niceville over the years. I know we get to see it on our end from the roof at home games and wherever we end up being on the road. But we got a lot of great talent here in the Panhandle, and we like to recognize them every week. And let's go to our games on the week. High school games, I went 19-5. Bob went 17-7. So the 2 games I was behind him, I made up last week, and we're now 90-27 on the season for 76.9% through the first 5 weeks of the season. Pretty solid, isn't that, Bob?
Not bad at all. Yep.
But we don't rest on our laurels.
Well, and high school football is just this year has from week to week. Which Sneads team's going to show up, which South Walton team's going to show up, which Choctaw team's going to show up, that kind of thing. So,
Frank Beasley, a new coach, Frank Beasley, in his first year, doing a great job over there at Choctaw, reviving that program.
Absolutely.
Well, we got one Thursday night game this week, and I think it might be on TV. I think they might be broadcasting a Thursday night game. Escambia going to Pine Forest. Always a great matchup, and it's a district game this year. And it should be a great game. Pine Forest solid 2-1. Escambia 2-2 on the season, and coming off one of their better games last week. But it got Escambia at Pine Forest. And I've been going back and forth on this one ever since I put our picks together for this week. I like Escambia. Dalton Biggs, the quarterback, finally getting on his feet over there after transferring from Pine Forest. So he started at Tate his sophomore year, moved to Pine Forest his junior year, and is now at Escambia. So a great matchup between Escambia and Pine Forest. Now I'm going to go with the home team in this one. I'm going to go with Pine Forest to knock off Escambia.
I'm going to go with the Gators.
So we start off right off the bat at odds, and now we're going to go head over to Niceville. Crestview in a district matchup heading down south. Down 85 to Niceville, and I'm going to go with the Eagles at home.
Was Crestview looking ahead when they lost to Choctaw?
A few turnovers in the second half has ended up costing them that game, and Choctaw was down at the half, I believe 13-3, and they scored the only points in the second half to pull out that 16-13 win.
I'm going with the Eagles.
Pace heading to Tate. Both teams kind of struggling right now here early on. I think Pace has a little bit more than Tate. I'm going to go with the Patriots on the road.
Pace.
Fort Walton Beach heading to Rickards, a long haul to Rickards to face a very talented Rickards team who beat Crestview earlier in the year, 31-21. I'm going to go with the home team in this one in Rickards.
Hate to go against my alma mater, but I'm going against my alma mater.
And yeah, Milton Harry Lee's leading that program again, heading to Washington, taking on first-year head coach Ryan Onka, a alum of Washington. So this should be an interesting battle here on the road.
That's another
for,
good
for
game.
Milton. I'm going to go with the Wildcats at home.
I'm going to go with Panthers, a visiting team.
Pensacola on the road at Arnold, two teams that have been very inept on the offensive side of the ball this year. Inept.
Yes, I'm going to go with the home team.
I'm going to go with Arnold as well, the Marlins. Next, we move on over Mosley at Choctaw. Should be a few weeks ago, we had probably said this was not going to be a very good matchup, but Choctaw has rebounded after that big loss to Niceville, I believe, in week 2. They're 4-1 on the season. Mosley 5-0. Fortunately, I'm going to go with the Dolphins in this one.
Mosley better not look past Choctaw. They're very capable of knocking them off. I'm going to go with the Dolphins, but I think it's going to be a close one.
Then we have Godby traveling back to the Panhandle once again this week as they're taking on West Florida, a very solid West Florida team.
Yeah,
and a lot of talent on both sides of these teams, but I'm going to go with the Jaguars to stay unbeaten.
Gosh, that's a tough one to pick. West Florida.
Next, we have Lincoln heading to Gadsden County. Kind of a mismatch here. Even though it's a down season for Lincoln so far, I think they'll win big on the road at Gadsden County.
Just going right next door to Gadsden County.
Then we got another close matchup. Florida High down in the southern part of Tallahassee, traveling down to Crawfordville to take on Wakulla. Always a great matchup. A tough place to play down there in Crawfordville with Coach Barry Cleese down there. They're struggling a little bit this year. Florida High's coming off a loss at Boot Hill.
Yeah.
And
gosh,
that game kind of surprised us a little bit.
It did. I'm going to go with Florida High.
I'm going to go with Florida High as well. Next, we move over to Mariana. Mariana not up and down this season. And South Walton heading over there. Mariana, I like the way the Seahawks are playing and Coach Phil Teza right now.
I do too. Coach Phil Teza, good friend of ours. I think they could make a playoff run, Bill. They could play a little defense.
Joe giving me some stats here. I appreciate that. Joe, as I was checking Max Preps earlier in the week, I didn't see any stats posted for Niceville. So Joe told me that Niceville's quarterback, I believe, is Addison Moore. He had 178 yards rushing. Good night for Addison Moore. And next, we're going to head over to Walton. I'm assuming you're taking South Walton in that one?
Yes.
Okay. Rutherford traveling to Walton. Down here for Rutherford, I look for Walton to win big in that one.
Yes, Walton.
Mobile Christian, fresh off a 49-0 drubbing at the hands of Mosley. They're going to head to Catholic, and I think Catholic's going to pull this one out.
Catholic.
Baker heading to Lighthouse PCA. Baker just has too many weapons for Lighthouse in this one.
Baker.
North Bay Haven, a win last week, going against a Bay team that's also is offensively challenged. I'm going to go with North Bay Haven on the road, even though it's not very far, right across Panama City.
The Buccaneers saw their middle school team last night. They played our Stingrays, Emerald Coast Middle School, and the Stingrays prevailed 40-14. I think I'll go with the
Joe's
Bucs.
going with Godby. Maybe we should add Joe to our picks next week. As we're doing the picks, if he can respond quick enough, we'll go ahead and
we could have a guest. Be like
a guest
ESPN,
picker?
A guest picker. As opposed to a nose picker, but a guest picker.
Yeah, a guest picker is always better than a nose picker.
Yeah. Let's let Joe.
You up for that, Joe, next week? You accepting the challenge of coming on and being our guest picker next week? I'm sure he'll respond here momentarily. North Bay Haven at Bay. You going with the Buccaneers?
I'm going with the Bucs.
Bluntstown heading to Holmes County. Holmes County having a good season. I like Coach Bowe in this one. Bluntstown is focused this year. He said Godby gets the first win of the season. They are 0-5 on the season, but they've had some pretty close games. I'm going to go with Bluntstown. I'm sure you're going with Bluntstown as well.
Yes.
Bozeman, the Bucks, heading to Vernon. The Yellow Jackets, Vernon having a down season after they lost K'Wan Powell to South Florida. I'm going to go with the Bucks on the road.
Bozeman.
Taylor County at Chipley. Chipley's solid year so far. Put a lot of points on the board. I'm going with Chipley at home.
Go Tigers.
Jay at Northview. Northview looked really good last week. Their quarterback had a great game, over 350 yards passing. I'm going with Northview at home.
Going with the Chiefs.
Then we have Freeport heading back over to Weewa. And Freeport's trying to get back on their winning ways, and I think they will this week, facing a winless Weewa
I think so, too.
team.
It might be closer than most people think, but I'll go with the Bulldogs.
You're saying, well, Bill, you didn't say Navarre, Gulf Breeze, Graceville, Cottondale, Port St. Joe, Rocky Bayou, and Sneeds.
Why didn't you say that, Bill?
Because they're all off this week.
They're bye.
They're on their open week this week, so So there's the high school. Now it's time to flip the page and head over to our college football. We had a really good week last week, Bob.
I think so. But there are some spectacular games this week.
Most definitely. We both went 20-4 last week. The only ones we were different on, you won the Wake Forest over Virginia game, not even close. The Wake Me Up Forest, they won 37-17 over Virginia, and I took Louisville. Louisville got up big early on and held on in that one over Florida State. 20-4, 83% for the week. Pretty darn good.
You know, that could make you a lot of bottle caps if you were in Vegas.
That could. Most definitely. We don't pick against the spread because we just don't. We pick straight up.
No. Yes, straight up.
Now we're going to move to week 5 in the college games. After 105 games, I'm 81-24, 77%. Bob's 78-27, 74%. Both very respectable on the season. Now it's time to move to this week. Got a Thursday night game tomorrow night. Virginia traveling down to Miami Gardens to take on the Hurricanes.
Boy, I just don't know. I don't know what Miami team's going to show up. I don't know what Virginia team's going to show up. I'm going to go with Miami in this one, maybe against my better judgment. Thursday night contest, I'll go with the Hurricanes in a close one.
I turned my mic off there because I had to cough. I'm going with the Hurricanes as well. And Joe says, I want my wheels up plane ride in. I'm in next week.
Well, there, Joe.
Joe, our guest picker next week. And now we'll see how Joe does against the masters here.
Well, you're the master. I'm the grasshopper.
Just you hopping on for the ride?
I'm hopping on.
Okay, now we got 2 Friday night games. Iowa going to Maryland. Iowa struggled last week against Colorado State. Colorado State got up 14-0, and Iowa ran off the last 24 points for a 24-14 win. Maryland under Tagovailoa. They're going to face off with the Terrapins. I said this on the show earlier on iTalk SEC with Matlock. I'm going with Maryland in this one, in the upset.
I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes.
Next, we got another Friday night game. BYU heading to Utah State. BYU looking really tough here early on in the season.
Yeah, going with BYU.
Now we head over to Saturday, one of the bigger ones of the day. Number 7 Cincinnati traveling to number 9 Notre Dame. Right now, Cincinnati is a 2.5-point favorite going into Notre Dame. When was the last group of 5 teams that went into Notre Dame as a favorite?
Not very many, if at all.
Well, in the last 7 years, Notre Dame has only been an underdog twice. This being the 3rd time since 2014. And we all know what happened last year when Clemson came to town. And Notre Dame, yes, they were minus Trevor Lawrence, but Notre Dame with the upset.
Notre Dame's got some offensive line issues, and I'm worried about their protection, to be honest with you. I'm still going to go with Notre Dame. Brian Kelly is Brian Kelly, and I think it's going to be whoever has the ball last kind of thing.
And you know what? We got to say congratulations to Coach Kelly, as he is now the all-time winningest coach in Notre Dame history, as he passed Newt Rockne last week with his 106th career victory at Notre Dame.
Yep.
So congratulations out to Coach Kelly. We're both taking Notre Dame in this one. Michigan traveling to Wisconsin. The Badgers kind of fell over the edge last week in the 4th quarter against Notre Dame. Let's see if they can rebound and climb back up that wall as Michigan comes to town this week. Michigan playing well. Their schedule, so-so at best, only because Washington was not what we thought Washington was going to be. Wisconsin, tough to win in Wisco, and And you know, if I pick against Wisconsin 2 weeks in a row, you know what my wife's going to say. So I'm going with the Badgers in a bounce-back victory over Michigan.
I will go with the Badgers.
Great matchup here. Number 8, Arkansas heading to Georgia. I think Georgia just has too many weapons, and I think Georgia will win this one.
Man, this is a tough game.
Hey, Joe, I know what you want to do in this one because you are a Arkansas alum, and I can hear Joe already going, "Ooh, pig suey." Are you leaning that way towards the pig?
Georgia's just due for a bad game. I know it's only the fourth or fifth game in the season. Gosh, Athens is such a tough place to play. I'm going to go with Arkansas in the upset.
I'm going with
or the win.
Ooh, pig suey. I know Joe's happy about that. Tennessee on the road at Missouri. This is a game, make or break game for Tennessee because if they cannot win on the road at Missouri, where do they get wins from down the road the rest of the schedule?
Right. Yeah. I'm going to go with Missouri.
I'm going to go with Missouri as well. Sorry, Shanky. Louisville, fresh off their win over Florida State, heading to number 24, Wake Forest. And I like the way the Demon Deacons are playing right now.
I'll go with Wake Forest, but I think it's going to be a close one.
Now we got number 11, Ohio State, heading to Rutgers. Rutgers played Michigan within a touchdown last week.
Rutgers went into that game undefeated.
Piscataway, New Jersey.
Piscataway. Buckeyes.
Buckeyes in this one, I agree.
For Buckeye Mike.
Buckeye Mike. Oh, yeah. We want to thank Mike again for making the trip with us last Friday night.
We had a great time.
Great time. Got some good eats and had some great conversation. He did a great job on the camera as well.
Sure did.
Number 12, Ole Miss at number 1, Alabama.
Hotty toddy.
Gosh almighty. 14-point favorites for Bama. I think Ole Miss is going to keep this one close.
I think so,
I think
too.
last year they scored 113 points between them in a 63 to 48 game.
Something like that, yeah.
And I think Alabama just has a little bit better defense than Ole Miss.
Yeah, Matt Carroll's a pretty good quarterback. Probably one of the best in the SEC outside of Alabama's quarterback. I'm going with Bama.
Number 6, Oklahoma, taking on their nemesis, the Kansas State Wildcats.
They just can't beat Kansas State for some reason, Bill. But they will this week.
They will this week. I agree.
Boomer Sooner.
Number 3, Oregon, and at Stanford. Always a tough matchup for Oregon traveling into California.
Yeah. Gosh.
I'm going to go with Oregon.
Yeah.
Are we going quack quack, or are we going with
I'm going quack quack
with the trees?
I'm a believer in the quack quacks.
Washington State. Unfortunately, they have to play a second half in most of their games. They do well in the first half. They can't finish, and they're going to Cal Berkeley. I'm going with the Golden Bears of Cal Berkeley.
You know, it's funny. In most years, Pac-12 Dave reminds us about, and they do. They have a history of some pretty good quarterbacks that fit into the system. This year they have a running back that's pretty talented.
Max Borghi.
Yep. I just don't know if there's enough around him. I'm going to go with Cal.
Okay. Next we head over another big matchup. Florida traveling to Kentucky. Heading up to the Bluegrass State of Lexington. And which is not the capital of Kentucky, as Bob reminds me that
Frankfort.
Hey, what team plays in Frankfurt? You didn't know that trivia question was coming.
Frankfurt State, I think.
No, Kentucky State.
Kentucky State.
The Thoroughbreds.
Okay. That's right. This is a trap game for Florida.
I'm going with the Gators.
They better watch out. This is an emotional win over Tennessee. Tennessee actually had the lead in that game early on. against Florida. I think the Gators will have enough, but I think it's going to be a field goal game. But it's got trap going with Florida.
Florida?
It's got
Louisiana
upset
Tech
potential.
heading off to number 23, North NC State, fresh off a victory over Clemson. Even though their kicker missed 3 field goals, he hits the game-tying extra point to send it to overtime, and they win in overtime.
Not much drama, huh?
No. Louisiana Tech 2-2 on the season, but 2 games that they easily could have won. I'll go with the momentum of the Wolfpack right now.
Wolfpack?
Baylor, undefeated through the first 4 weeks of the season, heading to Oklahoma State. Always a tough matchup here. I am going to go with the Bears in the upset on the road.
They played well against Iowa State. They shut down their quarterback. I'm going with the Bears.
Mississippi State heading to number 15 Texas A&M. A&M off that loss to Arkansas last week, and I look for them to bounce back this week.
Mississippi State and Texas A&M. I'm going to go with the Aggies.
Boston College heading to Clemson. Good Clemson. Here's a good. Well, they were 0-1 to start the season, but this far into the season, Clemson could be 2-3 after this game. I don't see it this week.
I'm going with Boston College.
I'm going with the upset, if it is an upset.
Going with the Catholics.
I'm going with Clemson to get back on the right side of things. Western Kentucky, the Hill Hoppers, heading to
Hill Hoppers or Hill
Toppers? Hill Hoppers.
Both.
Number Michigan State led by Mel Tucker in a resurgence of Mel Tucker in
Former Alabama assistant.
Lansing, Michigan.
Yep. I'm going to go with the Spartans.
Indiana, kind of a disappointment this year, heading to Happy Valley to take on number 4 Penn State. And Penn State has revenge all around, circled around this game. And honestly, I don't see Indiana coming away with the victory here.
It's going to be a happy night in Happy Valley.
Number 22, Auburn, heading to LSU. Auburn always has a tough time down in Baton Rouge, and I look for LSU to win this one.
Well, Bill, this is Coach O.
Hey, Coach.
What? I want to be a guest picker one of these days.
Okay. We'd love to have you. Can your voice make it through all those picks?
Well, all I can say is we got our hands full this week with another Tiger. The other guys. I'm going to drink me some Red Bulls, maybe 4 or 5 for the game, and I think LSU's going to win this game. Go Tigers!
Go Tigers! Hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Go LSU
again.
Tigers! The real Tigers.
Thanks for coming on again to the show this week, Coach.
Well, you're welcome, Bill. I left you a Red Bull on top of your car.
I don't drink Red Bull, but thank you nonetheless, Coach. Next, we're going to head back out to the left coast. Arizona State taking on number 20 UCLA. Arizona State back in the win column last week. Herm Edwards. They have not really gotten on track. I'm going to go with the Bruins at home.
Gosh, I hate picking against Herm Edwards.
Because?
That's why you play the game.
That's right.
I'm going to go with Arizona State in an upset.
God, we got a lot of different picks here this week.
Yep.
And then we're going to finish the night with a 10 o'clock Central kickoff as Fresno State, number 18, travels out to Hawaii. Not a vacation. It's a football game at Aloha Stadium.
Well, I think Fresno's going to aloha all over their surfboards.
I agree. And you're going with Fresno State as well.
Yes, the Bulldogs.
Well, that completes segment 2 in our picks. Before we come back and go over our former Navarre Raiders, where are they now, and updates on the Gulf Coast Gulf South Conference and the SIAC Conference from last weekend. We'll be back for the final segment on Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. Seminole Bob and Irish Bill here from Culver's in downtown Navarre. We'll be right back, folks.
Craig Culver of Culver's.
Before farm to table, Before Field to Fork, there was just good, wholesome food. Grown by America's farm families, prepared fresh at Culver's, and always served with a smile. We still cook every Butterburger to order using fresh 100% Midwest beef and craft our frozen custard right in the restaurant using family farm fresh dairy. So thank you, farmers. Welcome to Delicious.
Thinking about selling your property? Call Ursula Householder of Coldwell Banker Realty in Navarre now. The consultation is free, and Ursula uses the best tools the industry has to offer. Her years as a top producer, relocation specialist, and Florida military market specialist will help you get the desired result. If you are buying, Ursula's experience will help you make an informed decision to find the right home for you. And if you mention this advertisement, Ursula will donate $100 to the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club when the deal closes. To find out if you qualify for any of the military rewards, call or text 850-642-5711 or email ursula.householder@cbrealty.com or go to urhouseholderhomes.com. That's urhouseholderhomes.com. Go Raiders!
University Lending Group, located in Harvest Village, is Navarre's local mortgage lender. If buying, selling, or building a dream home is in your future, you need to contact University Lending Group. Jennifer Gomes and Stacy Wright are the loan specialists who have the experience to take you step by step to make your buying, building, or selling experience smooth. See University at 752 Navarre Parkway, Suite 56, or call 850-396-0322.
If you want to move better, feel better, and live better pain-free, Dr. Paul Britt at Integrative Chiropractic Solutions is the only certified sports chiropractor for Gulf Breeze and Navarre. He can address your sports injuries quickly and effectively, and after only 4 visits on average with a 96% resolution rate. So give Integrative Chiropractic Solutions a call today at 850-916-9304 or book online at drpaulbritt.com. That's 850-916-9304 or online at drpaulbritt.com. They want to fix you swiftly to get you back in the game.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is the kind of person you need. Express Employment Professionals can help because we understand what it takes to hire the right person. It takes real people, real interviews. We find good people, matching the right skills with the right jobs from the production floor to the front office. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Go to expresspros.com to find a location near you.
Great teams have great support. The Navarre Raiders have one of the best support organizations, the Navarre Raiders Quarterback Club. All the members see to it that the Raiders have all available necessities to keep the Raiders on track. Whether it's seeing to it that they're properly fed, have good transportation, or making sure that all Raider fans can watch and hear all exciting Navarre Raider football action, the Navarre Raider Quarterback Club is there to make it happen. Thanks, Navarre Raider Quarterback Club, for your support of your winning Navarre Raiders on IrishBillSports.com.
I like that one. I haven't played that one much. All those ones that got a pretty good beat to them.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
Welcome back to Irish Bill's Twist on Sports. It's week 6 here. We're already into week 6. Yep, 6. So the season after this week will be more than halfway over in high school football. And we're still got a ways to go in college. But it seems like, I've talked about this every week, it seems like leading up to it, it takes forever to get here. But once it gets here, it seems like it goes way too darn quick.
I agree.
Well, let's talk about some of your former Navarre Raiders. Where are they now? Michael Carter found the road a little bit rough to travel last week in Denver. His other teammate, Javonte Williams, had a big game, but they lost to Denver 26-0. They'll be facing off with Tennessee this weekend. The baseball season has finished up for outfielder Michael Sandel. He's part of the Houston Astros baseball team and organization. They finished up the season. Auburn's Nick Brahms, a win last week. Maryville linebacker Bo Herring still looking for their first win. The Scots 0-4 on the season. Huntington College, Mark Struck, Daryl Hickson, Garrett Schluter, Kyle Hickman, Tyler England, Jabari Mitchell, and Bailey Houston. All and Kyle. I said Kyle Hickman. So 7 Navarre players still at Huntington College.
Brian Lester did a special on, I believe, Derek Schluter.
Long snapper.
Yep, and all about that. So
West Virginia's Jordan Jefferson. They had a tough loss at Oklahoma last week. They'll be facing off with Texas Tech this week, trying to rebound. Dante Wright has been out. He got hurt in the Vanderbilt game, so he was out last week. He's recovering. Hopefully, they're in an off week this week. We talked with his mom, Stacy, last night. So if you want to send your prayers out for Dante, he's got a little PCL, but it's nothing major, and hopefully he'll be back. So prayers go out to Dante and his recovery. Same with Tyler England, recovering from his arm surgery as well, or shoulder surgery, one or the other. So prayers out to both of them. Redshirt season for Omari Green at Lake Erie College. That's up in Ohio. Eastern Tennessee's Quinn Caballero, I think he might be redshirted as well, as he transferred from Charleston Southern. They're 4-0 on the season. Louisiana James Seagrass, Harding's Mitchell Hunt. We already talked about Huntington. North Carolina Wesleyan's Mickey Domino and Zachary Marquise, freshman over there at North Carolina Wesleyan. And Valdosta State's Elijah Melendez. They were off last week. They will be hosting. They'll get it all right in the world this week as they host Shorter. And then Muskingum University's Evan Macon. He's a freshman up there. And this week they'll be facing off with John Carroll and Field of Dreams Prep School, Jaden Rivera. So the Raiders quite represented around the Southeast and up into the Midwest now.
I'm going to add one more to this list.
Are you?
I am, and it's going to be a female.
Okay.
We may have to start adding females. It's a friend of the family. They go to our church, St. Sylvester. It's Brianna Edwards. Brianna graduated last year from Navarre High School. She's competed with Gulf Coast Gymnastics just down the road here on 98 forever. And
she's going to Florida, right?
She is a Gator. She sure is. And so I'm not a gymnastic aficionado. Yeah. But I'm going to. I know in the SEC, Alabama's always got a strong team. Florida. And so we may follow Brianna and others.
We're going to. In fact, now that you bring it up, I've been questioning about this before. Why do we only do football players? Mm-hmm. And it's a good question. I've only covered the football players as far as broadcasting mainly.
Right.
So
as far as statistics,
there's nothing
we
that
can
we
give plugs to soccer, and
we got a lot of young ladies and men playing collegiate soccer, baseball as well, softball, swimming.
Yep.
Gymnastics now with Bree Edwards. Basketball. I mean, we still have Amber Leggett. She's up at Troy now playing basketball.
Mm-hmm. And the girl who spent 1 year at Navarre before she went to Choctaw, Griner. Is it Griner?
You're talking Nadia.
Somebody. Yeah.
She played at Stanford.
Right.
I think she's graduated from Stanford already.
Did. She's in the pros now. I'm just saying.
All 6'3" of her.
Yes.
I mean, she's a tall lady.
You know, she played 1 year with. I think she played with Greg Boozer. When Greg
Let's see what Joe has to say here. Let's try to adjust my screen here. I do expect the same treatment as college game day with the guest picker. Joe, we select him as our game picker next week, our guest picker, and he's already making demands. What's up with that?
I love Joe. But Joe, he works for the government, and I'm a school teacher. Between
I work
two
for the
of us,
government.
We don't have a, you know what.
Yeah.
So, sure. Tell you what, come by Culver's and we'll buy you dinner.
Yeah, we'll even let you get on the air for a little bit, Joe. How about that? You got to come out to Navarre.
Maybe the Niceville.
You got to
game.
come out.
Ooh.
Niceville week, Joe. You're coming to Navarre,
I'll give
and
him
I
my
will.
headset.
I will buy your dinner.
Joe
Could be the first one to show up, and we could.
be.
I could buy it.
We had
dinner.
some families around us. I thought we were circled here, but
we even had a visit from Michigan Eddie tonight.
We did. Michigan
living
Eddie.
over in Panama City now, closing
Okay.
on a house over here in Navarre that
All
they
right.
used to live in. So it's nice to see Michigan Eddie over here. Go Blue, Michigan, for Eddie. I'll say that, Tim, but I will not say the other thing.
So
Joe said it for me earlier. What did he say earlier?
he said, "Roll Tide, roll."
Okay.
Not
Not going to hear that from me.
We'll follow some other sports, and well, it's your show. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
I'm
But-
always up for suggestions. You know that,
yeah,
Bob.
well, Brianna, that has really been on my heart. I just could not remember her last name. I just call her Bree.
Bree Edwards.
Yeah, and great family. Let's see, I wrote it on my hand. Angela and Gilbert Edwards, great couple. Gilbert just retired. He had NCO. He had a lot of those things above.
Chief?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want him in my foxhole.
Okay.
So
We're going to move on from
We'll do
our
that.
Where Are They Now? And you can see a list of these names on my website on irishbillsports.com in the Where Are They Now segment of portion of my website. And let's move over to the Gulf South Conference. We still have 4 unbeaten teams this far into the season.
Crazy.
West Georgia, West Alabama, 4-0. Valdosta State and West Florida, they are at 3-0. North Greenville 3-1. Delta State Shorter 2-2. Mississippi College 1-2. West Georgia a top 2-0 in conference already. West Alabama 1-0 and 0-1 by Delta State Shorter University and Mississippi College. Last week results: West Georgia all over Shorter 56-0. Jackson State in a close one over Delta State 24-17. The University of Fort Lauderdale and West Florida game was canceled. I don't know why. North Greenville over Erskine College 38-7. West Alabama over Mississippi College in a close one 31-28.
So Jackson State's head coach,
One
Mr.
Deion.
Sanders, getting a win over Delta State. And Shorter's 2-2. Bill, it took them how many years? Like 3 years to get 2 wins?
Well, this was the first time. Well, Brady was there in 16 and 17, and they went 0-22. The next year they lost every game again, and then it would have been his senior year, the last game of the season, they won. So they had a 47-game losing streak snapped when they beat Allen in 2019, and then this year they started out with a couple of wins against a D3 school and an AI school.
Mm-hmm.
And but once they get into conference, one of the best Division II conferences in the country, the Gulf South Conference.
No doubt.
And here's this week's schedule. It's all conference games this week. Mississippi College at North Greenville, West Alabama at West Georgia, Shorter at Valdosta, and West Florida traveling up to Cleveland, Mississippi. It's about the farthest you can go up in Mississippi in the very last county before you get into Arkansas. So not a short trip and no easy way to get there. West Florida at Delta State. That's the Gulf South Conference. Now we move over to the SIAC. And we had some good games, and we had some not so good games last week. Miles College, you're going to hear a very odd score in this one. Miles College wins 55-4 over Central State.
2 safeties.
1 safety, 1 missed extra point returned for 2 points.
Wow.
And Miles College dominated Central State, the Marauders, 55-4.
Brady would have ran him down.
Fort Valley State, 56, Allen 20. Kentucky State, 34, Benedict 28. Alabama A&M over Tuskegee, 45-35. Savannah State over Morehouse, 29-10. Lane College over Edward Waters, 45-35. And Albany State all over Clark Atlanta, 49-0. And Albany State will be Miles' opponent this week in Birmingham, so that should be a good game coming up. As Savannah comes in 3-1, Miles at 2-2. Both of their losses to Division I AA schools. Also, Savannah State at Kentucky State, Allen at Central State, Clark Atlanta at Tuskegee, Edward Waters at Morehouse, Fort Valley State at Benedict, and Texas College at Lane College. Now it's going to put a wrap on another show, but not before I turn the mic over to you, Bob.
Well, I want to do my twisted take on college football expansion, and I want for us to have just a short give and take in your thoughts. It appears to me the direction, if I'm reading the tea leaves with the NCAA, they're all for playoff expansion, and combined with that for league expansion. And I think it's inevitable. I think your Catholics need to join a conference.
I do too.
And I think a lot of Notre Dame fans will too. I don't know if the Big Ten is a good fit. I don't know if the ACC. I just don't know. But I think conference expansion is inevitable. I noticed the Big 12 picked up some schools, like what did they pick up? Like Houston,
BYU,
yeah,
Cincinnati, and
UCF, BYU, and
UCF is joining the
why
Big 12
was
as well.
The Pac-12 chasing BYU? What is it?
I have no idea.
And so anyway,
so Texas and Oklahoma move into the SEC, as you mentioned,
right?
And then we got UCF, BYU, Houston, and Cincinnati joined into Big 12.
So I think that's inevitable. I'm for more expansion of the playoffs, no matter what it is. Whether it's when it was 2, it was who's the third best team. When it's 4, who's the 5th best team? If it's 6, who's the 7th best team? Go on and on and on. Do I want college football to look like NCAA basketball? No, I don't. I like us, and I think most purists like me would want my cake and eat it too. Expansion, but also the traditional bowl games that we enjoy seeing. Yeah, they make money for the local communities. What used to be the Poulon Weed Whacker Bowl, or that they have bowls all around the country that support and are good for the communities. Birmingham, Charlotte, maybe some non-traditional college thing. So my twisted take, expansion, maybe 10 teams. I think the NCAA is looking at 10 teams. And don't hold back. The money's, I don't even want to think about how much money CBS, ESPN, and Fox are going to throw at the college. But I think it would be good for college football, and that's my twisted take. Let's expand and do it smartly. And some of these teams like Notre Dame,
Well, one thing that we're going to talk about before we get off the air here. Next Friday night, homecoming, Navarre will host Mosley. A significant event that night is it's the 250th game in Navarre history.
That's awesome.
Mosley was also a part of the 150th game.
Oh, how about that?
So they're the first two teams, team listed twice in those. We went 50, 100, 150, right. 200, 250. So it would be the 250th game in Navarre history. They're 153-96 right now. And over the years. I'm going to pull up the coaches' records. Kenny Hughes got the program started back in '98. 1 year he went 4-5. He was taken, followed by Danny Williams, who went 3 years, 12 and 18. Coach Larry Olson is one that got the Raiders program on the map. He finished his 6 seasons with the 30 and 29 record in the first 2 trips to the playoffs in Navarre history. Chad Lashley took over there, got the Raiders their first district win. First playoff win against Niceville. Went on the road, upset Pine Forest, and lost a heartbreaker to Lincoln in the 3rd round. And Jay Walls has taken the Raiders program to 2 semi-state games and an 85-23 record.
That's
in his 108 games.
It's, really amazing, and I think it's going to be a full house. I think Mosley, they sense they're playing a pretty good team, and it's not too far of a drive from Lynn Haven. So,
I'm trying to look to see when was the last time that we played Mosley. It has been quite a while, and as I'm looking here, I think we're going to have to go all the way back to that 2012 season where they beat Mosley 28-13. That was when they were getting on their roll now before they finished the regular season at 9-1, went on, finished 12-2. So it's been 9 years since they've played Mosley, and so it should be interesting to see these 2 teams get back on the same field once again.
Yep, and see what kind of team. They've got a great offense. It's going to be a great challenge for Navarre. It'll be sad that we won't be traveling anywhere or climbing any stairs, but we may take in a game together.
Oh, more than likely. If not, I'll be watching one at home.
Yep.
But we got until next Wednesday night as we're off here, so, folks. If you're in your area, support your local high school football teams and your sports programs at all of your respective schools. The weather's going to start cooling off a little bit here in the next few weeks, and it's for those that can make it out. Please do it now before it gets too cold outside. And
we had beautiful weather last Friday.
It was gorgeous. Last 2 Friday nights have been pretty solid.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Did we pick the Florida State-Syracuse game? Sorry.
Did I not have that on there, Bob?
I was just thinking.
If not, we're going to add it. No, we did not. So good catch on your part. That is at Florida State, correct?
Syracuse at Florida State, the first of 2 for Florida State hits back on the road. Florida State is favored. Syracuse coming into game 3-1. Not played a whole lot of big.
They knocked off Liberty last week.
They did. Not a bad win. I think Seminoles get their first victory.
And you know what? I'm going to agree with you. I'm going with the Seminoles as well, because if they don't get it this week, the schedule's not. They have UMass coming up, and this could be a very dismal season in Seminole history. But I'm going to go with the Seminoles in this one as well.
Okay.
So thanks for catching that, Bob.
Yeah. I was thinking, have I said anything about FSU other than I thought it was a great second half comeback? I really thought Milton was going to bring them back, but.
So, well, until next Wednesday night, may the wind ever be at your back. It's Irish Bill. That's Seminole Bob.
Good night, Navarre, and God bless.